Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow travelers, we often speak of time as though it were a fixed, concrete thing, as though 2025 is something separate from the moments we are living right now. But what if I told you that time is an illusion, a flowing river that we are part of, rather than something we are waiting for? As we step into this new year, remember that the future is not a place we're rushing toward. It is simply an extension of the present moment. 2025 is not a point on a map we will eventually reach. It is a current that we are already riding. The idea of having a year ahead of us implies that we are somehow separated from what is to come. But the truth is, the future is not something out there. It is a reflection of our present, molded by our actions, our awareness, and our choices today. In this sense, 2025 is already here. The decisions you make today, the way you choose to engage with life, will ripple forward into this new year. This is why I say 2025 is my year, because I recognize that the power to shape it lies in how I live each and every moment. The challenge, however, is not to think of this year as a destination. Too often we focus on where we want to be, and we forget to live in the moment. The key to success in 2025, as in every year, is not to chase some future idea of happiness, but to embrace the present and trust that the future will unfold in alignment with what we cultivate today. Change is the only constant in life. Just as nature is always in motion, so too must we flow with life, not struggle against it. The desire to control every outcome only creates resistance. So as I enter 2025, I do so with a sense of openness, open to change, open to growth, and open to surprises that may challenge me in ways I do not yet understand. At the same time, it is essential to ask, what can I let go of? What beliefs, habits, or fears have I been carrying that are no longer serving me? 2025 will not be about holding tightly to the past or clinging to expectations. It will be about releasing what is unnecessary, so that I can step forward unburdened, ready to fully experience the gift of each moment. I recognize that I am not alone in this journey. We are all interconnected in ways we often forget. My actions, my thoughts, and my energy ripple outward, affecting the world around me. As I move into 2025, I will remember that I am part of something larger than myself. We are all part of this intricate web, and when I lift myself up, I lift others with me. But the real power, the true beauty of 2025, lies not in the destination, but in the journey itself. There is no final moment of fulfillment. Fulfillment is found in each step, in each decision to live authentically, to show up as myself in the world. This year will not be about chasing some future version of happiness. It will be about embracing the now, experiencing each moment as it comes. I will step into 2025 not with fear, but with curiosity. Fear will come, as it always does, but I will face it not as an enemy, but as a teacher. I will explore it, understand it, and let it go when it no longer serves me. So I ask you, what will you make of 2025? Will you let it be the year you have been waiting for? Or will you realize that you already possess everything you need to make it extraordinary? The power is within you. It is not in the calendar or the clock. It is in your heart, in your mind, and in the actions you take today. This is not just the year of promises, but the year of presence. It is not a year to wait for, but a year to live fully in. So, here's to 2025. It is my year because it is the continuation of this moment, and I choose to make it mine. Time is one of the most powerful forces in our lives, shaping our experiences, perceptions, and actions. Yet we seldom stop to question what time really is. We live our days in a rhythm dictated by clocks, calendars, and the ticking of a second hand. We measure our lives by the past, the present, and the future, organizing everything within the framework of this linear progression. But the truth is, time, as we understand it, is an illusion, a concept we've created to make sense of the chaos and flow of life. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, we are immersed in the idea that time is something external to us, something that controls us. We speak of time running out, of deadlines approaching, of years slipping by, but these expressions reveal a deeper truth. Our perception of time is bound by our minds. We have constructed a reality in which time is a constant force that must be fought against, measured, and maximized. We imagine that there's an end somewhere ahead, that there's a goal we must reach, and that we are racing against time to achieve it. However, the more we scrutinize time, the more it starts to dissolve before our eyes. The past, for instance, no longer exists in any tangible form. It is simply a collection of memories, stories, and interpretations. The events that once occurred are now just impressions we have in our minds, shaped by perception and altered by our senses. The future, too, is elusive, existing only in our imagination, formed by our hopes, fears, and projections. It has not yet arrived, and when it does, it becomes the present. So where is time, really? Does it exist outside of our minds, or is it simply a mental construct we use to give our experiences shape and structure? In fact, the only time that truly exists is the present, the moment you are experiencing right now. In this moment, there is no past to dwell on, no future to worry about. There is only this breath, this thought, this feeling. When we immerse ourselves in the present, we realize that time is not something external to us, but something we carry within. Time is not a fixed sequence of events, but the ever-present now that we experience at every moment. The present moment is the only time that truly matters, for it is the only time we can ever truly experience life. Yet we often get trapped in the illusion of time, believing that we must be somewhere other than where we are. We look ahead to the future, always striving for the next milestone, the next achievement, as though happiness and fulfillment are waiting there. We look behind us, reminiscing about what was and longing for what we believe we have lost. We allow our thoughts to drift from one moment to the next, never truly grounded in the here and now. In doing so, we miss the richness of life that exists in the present, always looking elsewhere for meaning and satisfaction. What if, instead of rushing to get somewhere, we chose to embrace the present for what it is? What if we stopped seeing time as something to manage or overcome, and instead viewed it as a flowing river that carries us from one moment to the next? Imagine how different our experience of life could be if we learned to let go of our obsession with the future and our fixation on the past. If we could see time as the unfolding of the present, we would discover that there is nothing to chase, nothing to fear. The only thing we need to do is to experience life fully right now. By recognizing that time is an illusion, we free ourselves from the constant pressure to achieve, accumulate, or measure. We stop living in the future and start living in the moment. We realize that we don't need to wait for a specific time to do something, the time to act, to love, to experience joy is always now. We don't need to wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is the one we are in. When we let go of the illusion of time, we release ourselves from the idea that we are running out of time, that we must hurry, that we must race against something beyond our control. Time becomes less of a burden and more of a companion, flowing with us as we navigate the currents of our lives. In doing so, we discover the beauty of the present, and in that beauty we find the meaning and fulfillment that we so often seek elsewhere. Time, in the end, is not a linear force that we must conquer. It is a tool for experiencing the richness of life. And when we understand this, we are no longer slaves to the clock, but active participants in the unfolding of the moment. The illusion of time disappears, and what remains is the simple, profound experience of being alive. Change is an inevitable part of life. It happens whether we welcome it or resist it, and it touches every aspect of our existence. We are constantly changing our bodies, our minds, our relationships, our circumstances. Yet, despite this constant flow of transformation, many of us find it difficult to embrace change. We resist it because it challenges our comfort zones, threatens the stability we've built, and often brings with it uncertainty. But in resisting change, we are also resisting life itself, for change is the very essence of being alive. In many ways, we've been conditioned to view change as something negative or threatening. We often associate it with loss, with things slipping away from us, or with the fear of the unknown. When change comes into our lives, we may feel anxious or fearful, not knowing how to adapt or what the future will look like. But in truth, change is neither good nor bad, it simply is. It's a natural part of the world around us, like the shifting of the seasons or the movement of the tides. Change is not something to fear, but something to welcome, for it is in change that we find growth, new opportunities, and new possibilities. The fear of change often stems from our attachment to what we know, to the way things have been. We become comfortable with the familiar, even if it no longer serves us. We create identities based on our past experiences, our successes, and our failures, and when those things start to change, we feel as though we are losing ourselves. But the truth is that our identity is not fixed, it is fluid, constantly evolving in response to the changes that life brings. The person we are today is not the same person we were yesterday, and the person we will be tomorrow is not the same person we are now. Life is not about holding on to some static version of who we think we are. It is about allowing ourselves to flow with change and to become the fullest expression of who we are meant to be. When we embrace change, we open ourselves up to new experiences and new ways of thinking. We allow ourselves to break free from the limitations of the past and step into the possibilities of the future. Change is often uncomfortable, but it is through discomfort that we learn, grow, and evolve. It is only when we step out of our comfort zones that we discover what we are truly capable of. The moments when we feel most vulnerable, most uncertain, are often the moments that lead to the greatest transformation in our lives. The key is not to avoid these moments, but to lean into them with curiosity and openness. Change also brings with it the opportunity to shed what no longer serves us. It provides the space for us to let go of old beliefs, habits, and relationships that are holding us back. These attachments can weigh us down, preventing us from moving forward. But when we allow ourselves to release them, we create room for something new, something more aligned with our true selves. It's not always easy to let go, but in doing so, we make room for the new possibilities that change offers. Another important aspect of embracing change is the recognition that we do not have control over everything. We may have a vision for how we want our lives to unfold, but life often has a different plan. Sometimes the changes that come into our lives are unexpected, and they can challenge our sense of security. But when we surrender to the flow of life, when we let go of the need to control every outcome, we begin to realize that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves. The universe, or whatever you choose to call it, is constantly moving and evolving, and we are a part of that movement. To resist change is to resist the very current that carries us forward. But when we learn to trust in that current, to trust that change is guiding us exactly where we need to be, we begin to move with it rather than against it. It's also important to understand that change doesn't always mean a dramatic shift or upheaval. Sometimes change is subtle, a small shift in perspective, or a quiet transformation that happens over time. Ultimately, embracing change is about embracing life itself. It's about letting go of the illusion of permanence and recognizing that the only constant is change. When we embrace change, we embrace the beauty of transformation, the excitement of new possibilities, and the freedom that comes with letting go of the past. It is through change that we evolve, and it is in evolution that we find the true potential of our lives. The more we allow ourselves to flow with the current of change, the more we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life, and that is where true fulfillment and growth can be found. The present moment is the only place where life truly unfolds. We often hear about the importance of living in the present, but for many this concept remains elusive. We spend so much of our time either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future that we forget to fully experience the moment that is happening right now. Yet, if we truly understood the power of the present, we would realize that this is where all of our potential resides. The present is not just a fleeting moment, it is where everything is created, where all actions are taken, and where real change begins. At every moment you have the power to shape your life. The future may seem distant and uncertain, but the only place where you can make a difference is here and now. The past is gone, and while it has shaped who you are, it no longer holds any direct power over you unless you allow it to. The future is not guaranteed, and worrying about it only steals your energy and focus from what is happening in this very instant. In the present, you are the creator of your reality. Every choice, every thought, every action, no matter how small, adds to the direction your life will take. Most of us spend a significant amount of time lost in thoughts about what has happened or what might happen, but this mental distraction prevents us from fully engaging with what is. The true power of the present moment lies in our ability to focus on it, to truly experience it without letting our minds wander. The more present you are, the more you begin to notice the small details, the sounds, the sights, the sensations. When you stop looking for the next moment, the next goal, or the next achievement, you begin to realize that there is a wealth of richness in the present that you may have been overlooking. There is a profound freedom in the present moment. When you stop dwelling on the past or fearing the future, you free yourself from the weight of regret and the burden of anxiety. You allow yourself to be fully here, to immerse yourself in the experience of life as it is right now. In the present, you are not bound by the limitations of time or the constraints of your thoughts. You are free to act, to create, to make choices that are aligned with who you are, not who you were or who you hope to be. This is where true empowerment resides, the ability to act and make decisions without the unnecessary weight of past mistakes or future worries. Living in the present moment also allows you to tap into the natural flow of life. When you're fully present, you can feel the rhythm of life, the pulse of existence. You can respond to situations with clarity, with wisdom, and with authenticity because you are not distracted by fears or expectations. You are attuned to what is happening around you and inside of you, and this awareness gives you the power to act from a place of truth, rather than from a place of reaction or fear. This connection to the present moment enables you to find solutions, make decisions, and move forward with a sense of purpose. Being present also enhances your relationships. When you are fully engaged with others without distractions or judgments, you create deeper connections. You listen more intently, you see others more clearly, and you are able to communicate with greater compassion and understanding. The power of the present moment lies in your ability to be with others without the interference of your own agenda or mental chatter. In doing so, you create a space for genuine connection, trust, and intimacy. But perhaps most importantly, the present is where you discover your true self. When you are fully present, you let go of the masks, the roles, and the stories that you've built around yourself. You stop pretending to be someone else, and you allow yourself to simply be who you are. In the present, there is no need for approval or validation, because you are enough as you are. The present moment is where your true power lies. When you let go of the past and future and step into the here and now, you unlock your authentic self. As you embrace the power of the present, you begin to notice how it transforms your life. You become more focused, more aligned with your inner truth, and more open to the beauty that exists in every moment. The future becomes less intimidating because you understand that your actions now are the seeds for tomorrow. The past becomes less burdensome because you no longer carry its weight in the present moment. And in the stillness of the now, you find the freedom, the clarity, and the power to create a life that is deeply meaningful and connected to your true essence. The power is always in the present. It is where everything happens, where all potential lies, and where the fullness of life can be found. When you embrace the present moment, you step into the fullest expression of yourself, and you unlock the door to the life you are meant to live. There is no more powerful place than here and now. Life flows like a river, constantly moving, shifting, and changing. We often try to control this flow, to impose our will upon the course of events, believing that if we work hard enough, plan enough, and control enough, we can direct the current in the way we want it to go. Yet the more we fight against the natural rhythm of life, the more we struggle, and the more we feel disconnected from the very essence of existence. The truth is that life's rhythm is not something to control, it is something to surrender to. When we resist the flow of life, we create tension. We become frustrated when things don't go as we planned, when the outcomes we hoped for don't materialize, when circumstances don't align with our expectations. This resistance often comes from a deep-seated fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of losing control. We have been taught to believe that we must master our circumstances, that life should bend to our will, and that any deviation from our plans is a failure. But in reality, life is not something that can be mastered or controlled. It is a vast, ever-changing force, and it cannot be coerced into submission. The more we try to control, the more we lose touch with the natural rhythm of life. Life does not require our constant interference. It flows effortlessly, like the wind or the tides. When we stop fighting against the current, we begin to notice how naturally everything unfolds. The trees grow without effort, the sun rises and sets without any prompting, the seasons change with perfect timing. In the same way, when we surrender to life's rhythm, we begin to flow with the natural course of events, rather than against them. Surrendering to life's rhythm does not mean giving up or becoming passive. It is not about resigning ourselves to fate or abandoning our goals and desires. Rather, it is about letting go of the need to control every aspect of our journey and trusting that life will unfold in the way it is meant to. It is about stepping into the current with faith, knowing that we are being guided even when we cannot see the full path ahead. Surrender is not about inaction, it is about acceptance. It is about recognizing that while we have influence over our lives, we are not the sole architects of every moment. We are part of something much greater than ourselves, something that is constantly shifting and changing, and by surrendering to that flow, we align ourselves with the greater rhythm of life. When we surrender, we free ourselves from the burden of resistance. We stop wasting our energy fighting against circumstances we cannot control, and instead we focus on what we can influence: our own thoughts, actions, and reactions. We learn to respond to life as it comes, rather than reacting out of fear, frustration, or a need for control. This shift in mindset allows us to approach challenges with a sense of ease, knowing that we are not alone in this journey and that everything is unfolding in its own time. To surrender to life's rhythm is to trust that things will work out as they should, even if they don't happen according to our plans. It is understanding that life has its own timing, and sometimes what we want in the moment is not what is best for us in the long term. The moments of pause, of stillness, or of seeming chaos are often the very things that lead us to growth, clarity, and transformation. Life has a way of unfolding perfectly, even when we don't understand it in the moment. By surrendering, we release the need to figure everything out and allow life to surprise us in ways we could never have anticipated. When we learn to surrender to life's rhythm, we find a deep sense of peace. The struggle diminishes, and we begin to feel a sense of harmony with the world around us. Instead of pushing against the tide, we begin to flow with it, trusting that it will carry us exactly where we need to be. Life is not something that happens to us, it is something we are part of. We are not separate from it, but an integral part of the ever-changing flow. When we align ourselves with this flow, we experience life in its fullest expression, with all its joys, challenges, and mysteries. Surrender is not about giving up, it is about letting go of the illusion that we have to control everything. It is about trusting the journey, even when it takes unexpected turns, and allowing ourselves to be carried along by the rhythm of life. When we surrender, we make space for the magic and beauty of life to unfold. We stop holding on so tightly to our plans and expectations, and instead we open ourselves to the vast possibilities that life offers. Life is a rhythm, and when we surrender to it, we become part of the dance. Desire is a powerful force that drives much of human behavior. It propels us to seek out what we want, whether it's success, love, material possessions, or even inner peace. Desire motivates us to act, to create, and to evolve. Yet, while desire can be the fuel that pushes us forward, it can also become a chain that binds us. The dance between desire and detachment is a delicate balance, one that requires awareness and wisdom. It is not about eliminating desire, but about understanding how to engage with it in a way that leads to true freedom rather than attachment. Desire, in its essence, is a natural part of being human. It's a reflection of our needs, our passions, and our ambitions. We desire food, we desire connection, we desire progress, and these desires shape the way we navigate the world. They are not inherently bad. However, when desire becomes an obsession, when it dominates our thoughts and actions, it leads to attachment. We begin to tie our happiness and sense of self-worth to the fulfillment of these desires. The moment we attach ourselves to a specific outcome, we set ourselves up for disappointment. If the desire is not fulfilled, or if circumstances change, we feel a sense of loss, frustration, or emptiness. On the other hand, detachment doesn't mean abandoning our desires or living in a state of apathy. Detachment is the ability to hold our desires lightly, to not be so entangled in them that they define us or determine our happiness. It's about understanding that our desires do not define our worth or our ultimate happiness. Detachment is the practice of being fully present in the moment, engaging with life fully, without being attached to a specific outcome or result. It's about recognizing that life is fluid, constantly changing, and that the things we desire are not always within our control. When we practice detachment,